Welcome to Ghost News Network. This is the week of July 12th, 2015. I hope everybody out there in internet land is doing well. If you haven't been here for a while or you're not sure who we are, as always, I'm your host, Dimitri Haratos, along with
Rob Levine.
And joining us for the first time is
Andy Forte.
Andy does a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff with our YouTube and things like that. He's the one who edits our videos. Excuse me. He edits our videos and he uploads all the stuff to YouTube. So you can thank him for all the content that we have on our page right now.
You're welcome.
Pat yourself on the back.
There you go. We don't have a sound effect. Here, wait, I have something for you.
Oh, a round of applause. You guys spoil me.
Yes, that's it. We have a whole list of things. We can also call you...
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
Yo! Nice. Spaceballs references?
Yeah, this thing has a whole bunch of craziness that we probably won't get into now. But anyway, moving on. So what I'm going to do to start off is just let everybody know where we're at in the world of LIPI. We are a little short-handed right now because a bunch of our members are up at Rhode Island, Massachusetts. They yesterday were at Danvers Psych Center and they went to Salem and a bunch of other places. They posted everything on Facebook. They went to Newport on Friday and they'll be coming home, I think, Monday. So there's a big trip for them. They're having a really good time. If you want to see all the pictures, we're uploading a lot of photographs with our IR camera so you can see what these locations look like through the veil of infrared. So check that out. Go to our Facebook page, www.facebook.com, and look up Long Island Paranormal Investigators. Give us a little like if you want. Check us out there.
Also on Twitter.
We are also on Twitter. Our handle is @LIParanormal. So those will also be posted there as they are posted to Facebook. But I want to say, since Andy's new, Andy, tell them a little bit about yourself and what got you into the paranormal and what led you to this group.
Oh my goodness. I hope we got some time.
We have time.
Alright. Well, I've been with the group 7 years now. Just had my 7-year anniversary. Paranormal started for me back in the days of Ghostbusters, you know, the real Ghostbusters, all that kind of stuff. And that evolved into trying to watch Discovery channels and trying to understand the real science behind, you know, ghosts as opposed to, you know, cartoons. And eventually, at the age of 9, my uncle died, and I went to his house with my aunt, and she had gone into the bathroom. And, you know, I was looking down a hallway, and I'm staring at this one picture, and suddenly things become a little wavy, you know, kind of like heat rising off something hot, like off the street, something to that effect. And as I tried to focus on it, it came into shape, and it was the shape of my uncle, because he was a really big dude. He took up, like, the whole hallway, and stopped right in front of the bathroom. And when my aunt, you know, walked right into it, you know, it kind of disappeared, and I asked her for my limited knowledge of the paranormal at the time. I asked her if she felt any kind of, you know, wind or a temperature change or something like that, and she said she did feel a little cold breeze. And, you know, ever since then I was trying to investigate more, and eventually, after high school, I tried to start my own group, or start investigating a little bit with my friend Anthony, who was once part of this group. And, you know, we investigated his fraternity house, because he hates it being called frat house, excuse me. You know, he had seen, you know, a white lady go up the stairs, and somebody's room had a really big door that, like, slid shut. So we investigated it. And, you know, we had, again, with limited knowledge of the paranormal, went in with, you know, a video recorder and, you know, a voice recorder. And we ended up catching some EVPs, which were pretty cool. And after that, I had to get into it for real. Like, you know, I had to find a group on Long Island that was actually going out into the field, you know, touching the ethereal plane and all that stuff. And found this. had an interview, and the rest is history.
Awesome. I remember one time we investigated a hanging tree together, and we've investigated with each other for many years now, and I think we've only had one experience together, and that was that one time we were at Hanging Tree and we kept hearing stuff moving around and we were trying to find where it was coming from, and then towards the end you and me were staying back, and I think it was when we were filming our documentary and everybody was exiting out and we were filming behind them and stuff like that, and I looked to the left of you and there's like these bushes, and all of a sudden out of nowhere you see this like glowing light and it just disappeared out of nowhere. So good times.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Hanging Tree is an interesting spot.
Yeah, very much. And just now joining us, we have one of our newest members. His name is Trevor. Trevor, say hi.
Hi.
A little bit louder. I don't think they can hear you in internet land.
Hi.
All right, I'll put subtitles so you guys can hear him talking.
Sometimes you have to. But yeah, so that is Andy. And just to go over really quick some other things that we have going on. We have a presentation at Sachem Public Library on July 24th. That's going to be at, I believe it is starting at, excuse me, I believe that is starting at 7 p.m. It runs from 7 to 8:30. It's an hour-and-a-half lecture. So if you
is that free?
Yes. I think so. Yeah, I don't think they're charging people.
Can you hear that, folks?
So,
you're
free
in the Long Island area.
For So Sachem Public Library, July 24th, from 7 to 8:30, and then after that we have a Haunt Fair, which is it's a convention for mainly haunted houses, but they're trying to bring an interest in the actual paranormal, and so they want us to come down, and we'll have a table there for the 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, and we'll also be running 3 different panels. One is on demonology, one is about haunted places on Long Island, and the other one is about the locations that we investigate and what equipment we use to go with it. So if you're available either August 1st or 2nd, it's called Haunt Fair. You can check it out. It's haunt-fair.com. And they are going to be it's in Hauppauge. It's in the Upsky Hotel and Resort or something like that. That's where that's being held. And then we are heading to Lake George again. We are going to go camping for Siege Week. Siege Week is back during, it was a French and Indian War, right?
Yes.
During the French and Indian War, it was when the Lake Fort George, not Fort George, I guess Fort George too, but Fort William Henry was sieged upon.
Fort George is after Fort William Henry.
It was after? Oh, okay. So it was when Fort William Henry was sieged upon, and we always go there, and we always like to camp out and do our investigations around that time. So if you're in Lake George and you see anybody walking around with LIPI shirts, feel free to say hi and tell us what you think. But don't be too honest. And then last but not least, we are going to be at Atlantic City in October, and we're going to be hopefully investigating the Absecon Lighthouse up there. So we've got a lot of cool things coming up and been very busy.
That'd be our second lighthouse we investigated,
yeah,
right?
Yep, it'd be our second lighthouse. We did a few years ago, maybe it was 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago.
The Fire Island Lighthouse.
Fire Island Lighthouse.
Yes,
yep,
that was awesome.
which was really cool.
I actually shot documentary footage for that. I wonder where that is.
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And but that's it. That's what we have going on right now. And to start off, we're going to jump right into our urban myth and legend. And Andy is going to tell us all about the Bridge Cafe as soon as he figures out how to get this giant knot out of his hair.
Oh my god!
It's a shame.
We have scissors.
It is really a shame that this isn't a visual medium. So this is
okay. Bowie knife.
And Rob is trying to cut him now.
Oh my gosh! All right. Lo siento. Alright, today's urban myth is the Bridge Cafe. Located at 279 Water Street in Manhattan, the Bridge Cafe was built in 1794 and hails itself as the oldest drinking establishment in New York, according to its official website. The building was not always the Bridge Cafe. The property was at one time or another a Hungarian restaurant, seafood restaurant, a packing store, a pirate bar, and even a brothel. The bar was even immortalized in the film Gangs of New York in the scenes that took place in a wild drinking establishment where pickling jars filled with body parts lined the shelves. This was an homage to one of the cafe's former incarnations where a 6-foot Englishwoman named Gallus Mogg
I love the emphasis on Mog.
I'm not going to say Mag. Yeah, you guys can look it up yourself. Would escort rowdy patrons out of her bar with their ears between her teeth. Oh, Jesus. Those offenders who were unfortunate enough to incur the full brunt of her wrath found their severed ears in pickling jars for posterity. You know what? I wrote that.
This is yours? This
Yes.
is your write-up?
Yes.
There you go. So
I'm very glad I could get through that without stumbling. Because
Yet you
otherwise,
seemed rather unsure at times what you were saying.
I was like, wow, this is really well written. Who did this? Oh.
I had to heavily edit that, by the way. I don't know. No, I'm kidding.
Alright, so that's the brief history of this place. The haunted history, this one was not written by me, so now I'm going to stumble through it. Miss Gallus Mogg still reportedly haunts the building today. In addition to the former bar hop frequenting from beyond the grave, other claims of paranormal persisting from the Bridge Cafe include the feeling of being watched, smelling phantom scents of perfume or lavender, hearing footsteps on the floors above you when no one is there, and seeing shadows move across the room.
Pretty cool.
Indeed.
I'm sorry, I just keep thinking Gallus Mogg. It sounds very Klingon. It sounds like a very Klingon name, doesn't it? Anybody into Star Trek? No?
Yeah.
Just me? Alright.
Too hot smash.
Moving on. And now I'm going to throw Trevor under the bus, because I do this to people that are new and come to the radio show. Trevor,
Oh, he's got his phone out bad.
That's it.
Bad.
But Trevor, tell us what got you into the paranormal and what brought you to Long Island Paranormal Investigators.
Well, obviously I've always had a pretty big interest in the occult and the paranormal. As a young kid, like I would just nonstop read like R.L. Stein stuff, and then as I got older, I got into college, obviously, and I'm a science major. I do a lot of I write like a 20-page paper once a week on like investigative methods in biology and stuff. So like eventually I got really into some of the scientific investigative aspects of the paranormal, and I did a Google search of groups in the area, and I found you guys.
That's right. We're the #1 Google search. But you paid nothing for it.
That's true.
Yeah.
How are you liking it so far?
So far, so good. We've gotten rained out the last like
3 weeks in a row. Yeah, it's been very unfortunate. I've had some cool locations I want to take you guys to.
It's all Trevor's fault.
Including
He makes it rain.
including a new one that hopefully we'll be able to go this Thursday.
Okay.
So it should be very interesting. And then me and Mike did a day trip with Dylan, but he kind of left halfway through. I guess this is time for the story, since I've already begun. But we went to check out a few places. We started by going to. Where did we go? We checked something out, and I forget where it was we first went to. But then we were going by Setauket Village Green, because over in Setauket Village Green, we've been told there's a thing called Patriot Rock. And Patriot Rock is where there was a skirmish during the American Revolution. And so when we passed it, we past Setauket Village Green as I stumble over myself, and then the road kind of like veers to the left, and you follow that curve over the left, and then right on the left-hand side is just this giant rock. It's so blatantly obvious to just go out there and investigate. They've got parking stalls right in front. There's no sign saying nobody can be there or anything like that. You can just walk straight in, and it's not huge. You could bring maybe 2 teams of 3 in there, but Setauket Village Greens are also right around the corner. And that's right on the street too, so it's really cool. There was some famous names in there. Mike had recognized one of the names on the plaque from the show Turn. So
What's
supposedly Turn is a show on is it on A&E, AMC?
AMC.
It's on AMC, and it's
Culper Spy
about
Ring.
the Culper Spy Ring and the
Oh.
American Revolution. Yeah. So, and the battle that took place, and a lot of people don't know this. They think that the American Revolution started near the Boston Commons and stuff, but one of the first skirmishes that happened that started the war was right here on Long Island in Setauket, and that's where the battle took place. And we investigate. There's like a church over there. It's not the same church. I think the church was destroyed and then rebuilt in the 1800s, and it's facing a slightly different direction. But if you watch the show and you see them in Setauket talking, and they're in front of a church, that's the church that you see. So it's a really good show. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But also there's like this nature preserve. It's I forget the name of it. I can never remember these things. My brain is fried. And but me and Mike got out and we walked through there, and it's really cool. It's huge. It's a huge location. There's a giant red barn. There were people over there taking wedding photos and stuff. And there's a couple of bridges there. And as you come up on the bridge, there's like an old mill that you can check out and stuff like that. There's houses on the left-hand side, though, on the opposite side of the pond, so you gotta be careful over there. But it's a really nice location, and you can walk all the way through, and it leads to a secondary nature preserve that is got like a thing called the Bates House in there, and they rent it out for like not investigations, but we're going to see if we can rent it for an investigations. But they do weddings and stuff, and we were seeing that like kids were renting it and spending the night there. So as like
as long as they get paid, I don't think they're gonna care.
Yeah, so it might be a cool place where we could just rent it out for the night, investigate it, and then you also have literally you go outside and then there's a path. You just walk the path and you can go into that giant field and check that whole thing out. Something that we're looking into. Could be really interesting. I think the building itself is from the 1800s too, the Bates House. So
Yeah, I bet if you tell them, yeah, we'll do it on like a Tuesday, they'll probably give you a discounted rate.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
money on a Tuesday? There you go.
Yeah. So I mean, we were saying if a bunch of kids can go and rent it out, it can't be that expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so we should definitely. I know we're looking into that. Rocco, who's our PR manager, is currently either calling them or sending them an email to work that out. So it'd be really cool to check out. Sure. For sure. Now moving on, we have our definition of the week. And our definition of the week is a demonologist. What is a demonologist, they say? Demonologist is a person who actively pursues demons and other non-human entities both for study and to help people rid them from their lives. Usually demonologists are very religious people, as they believe strongly that only faith has the power to combat a demon. They are also usually schooled and or experienced in the field of psychology and mental health. This is an important note, though, that I want to add. Active pursuit of demons and demonology is not something that you should be doing just for the sake of it, thinking that it's fun or for kicks. You don't know what you could rile up, so you could get both serious physical and mental injury that can occur to you. You want to be very careful. Don't go around calling demon names that you heard on TV shows and movies thinking that it's a good idea because, yeah, maybe nothing will happen now, but to a demon, what's time? What's time to a demon? Maybe it doesn't happen now, but maybe when you're 40, he comes knocking on your door saying, you called me? You know, you never know, so you want to be careful. I've said this story in the past. I don't know if I said it on the show or not, but I had a friend of mine where she lived in, this is when I lived in Massachusetts, there were the old colonial houses, and each floor was kind of an apartment. So there would be 3 floors, and she lived on the main floor with her son, and on the middle floor was a bunch of kids that lived there, and they were messing with the Ouija board and doing a bunch of different things. And they were fine. Nothing happened to them, but unfortunately, messing with the Ouija board, something attached itself to her son.
Oh.
And her son would start getting scratches and all these other things, and they had the house blessed, but you can't bless a whole house that you don't have access to. It's very difficult to do. You can't do a proper cleansing or exorcism of a house. So she ended up moving to a different location, and it's followed her son his whole life. He still gets scratches and stuff like that. And I spoke to her maybe a little over a year ago, and it was still going on. This is literally almost a decade ago when she was telling me about it. And I don't even know how long she had been going through it when she had told me about it. So, gotta be careful, you know, just because you think it's funny. Maybe it doesn't affect you. Maybe it affects other people around you. So, just be careful. Don't go poking the bear. Yeah, we don't really do
Provoking.
We don't provoke, and we don't really do demon cases. They very rarely come up. It's super rare, but when it does, we take it very seriously, and we check the location out. And we have people in our group, myself and Mike in particular, who can go into a location and pick out the signs and see, yes, we need to get out. We don't do that ourselves. We have plenty of people that we refer them to, of the clergy and stuff like that, that can help them. So, but we've had one that came up that didn't be anything, and then one time we were called by a demonologist that said he might need our help, and if we could, would we be able to help? And we told him yes, but nothing ever came of that, so I guess he was able to take care of it by himself. So, but yeah, so demonology, be careful with it. Don't mess with it. As a practice, I would say. Don't mess with it. Good advice, Sound?
I'd have to agree with that. I want no part of that department, thank you very much. I already got the bad juju.
You got enough bad juju? From what?
I don't know. You tell me.
Alright, so now moving on. Sir Andy's going to tell us about our equipment review, which is the electrosmog meter.
Ooh, alright, the electrosmog meter. Fact. The electrosmag.
Smag.
I'm still stuck on Callus Mag. The electrosmog meter detects wave field strengths of radio frequencies. This meter does not detect magnetic fields. We got our first theory. When a ghost is trying to manifest, it may generate a radio frequency, which can be detected through this meter. It's kind of like a K2 meter. Second theory is, we call it the Chris Fleming theory. Basically, you can light it up, the whole red, yellow, green, all the lights for once for yes, twice for no, or other way around, as long as you keep it consistent. And you know, when we use this, we have to take into account that not only paranormal things will be setting off this meter. In fact, wireless routers between 0 and 50 feet will set this thing off. Cell phones within 12 feet, walkie-talkies within 20 feet, CB radios within 50 feet, car alarms within 6 feet, and even microwaves that are turned on within 50 feet will affect this meter. So even if you do get the negative 55 dBm, decibels to the measured power of 1 megawatt, to negative 35 dBm of the paranormal activity, which would be considered paranormal activity through this, you'd have to take into account the other things that are going on around you in your environment. That's why we always enter these cases, you know, as skeptics. We want to try to find a natural source before we just deem the place paranormal. And honestly, I haven't had an experience with this piece of equipment. You guys ever had anything with this piece?
Me, no.
Nothing that stands out that I recall that was of interest. I mean, I've seen it go off a few times, but you know, you're investigating someplace like Mount Misery Site 1, where the day camp is, and there's a giant radio tower right there. How
That's true. And
how trustworthy is that piece of equipment at that moment in time? So
it's true, and we do investigations of people's houses. They live on main roads. People going by with their cell phone, talking on their cell phone.
it's not even that. Wireless routers go 50 feet. I mean, you're in a house, you're surrounded by wireless, you know, unless
right.
you can get them to unplug their wireless for the night. I doubt when they're sitting in a dark room waiting for you to finish their investigation, they're not going to be on their phones, you know?
Yeah, there's always going to be some sort of radio frequency interference. But then again, if it is interacting with you, you know, giving you twice for yes, once for no, or something like that, that would be pretty cool to document, as long as you have something else that's going along with it. You can't just say, this is paranormal. We always want to have a plethora of evidence.
I will say, not on this meter, but on the K2, which does both. I know it's a misconception. People think it's an EMF meter. It does also detect radio frequencies and strength. Me and Mike were on a house case, and we were looking around, and we were investigating, and we had equipment set up on a counter. And we decided we were going to leave that stuff there, We walked into another room for a minute to just kind of check it out, see what was going on, and we came back in, and the 2 meters, one was an EMF and one was a K2, the 2 meters went up, down, and then up again, pinned, stayed there for a second, and then died. The weird thing was that when me and Mike walked in, we both jumped back, like we walked in on somebody when nobody was there. You know that feeling when you walk in on someone in the shower, something like, oh crap, I didn't know you were here. That was the feeling we had. And at that same time, the meter started going crazy.
Huh.
So that was interesting, but that wasn't this, but it detects the same thing.
Yeah, I remember one time we had the digital electrosmog meter, which is basically this, except with the digital readout on it. And Rob and I were at a house investigation, and we thought we heard something go up the stairs at the same time. We saw that hit. Because you can see the frequency jump up.
Yeah, you
The
can
house
see
with
it
the
on a
ghost
little
cat.
meter.
Yes. And then we had one camera go down that night. That was like one of my first investigations. Yes.
Very cool.
Oh yeah. Indeed. What do you think of this, Trevor?
It's pretty interesting.
Speak up before we start stepping on your
It's
foot.
Interesting. I feel like from what I see on like television shows and like reading on the internet, a lot of people are fixated on electromagnetic fields being EMF, but not a lot of people are looking into the electromagnetic radiation, aside from things like infrared and ultraviolet, which is what radio waves would fall under.
Right. Yep.
A technical perspective from Trevor.
It was. Trevor may be soft-spoken, but he is very technical.
I would expect nothing less from a biologist.
Oh boy.
Do you have anything else you want to add on the electrosmog meter? Or no?
It's fun.
That's it?
Very insightful. Thank you for that.
It's an interesting meter to use, without a doubt it is. It's cool when you have something like the digital one, the digital electrosmog. Not only does it give you the dBm and it gives you the little meter on it, I believe it does also tell you the EMF. So whenever you're looking at that, you can tell if you have the K2 next to it, whether you're getting a hit from EMF or you're getting a hit from radio frequency. So it's nice to have that to correlate. But the electrosmog is just a more basic one. Cool piece of equipment. I don't mind using it. I like it. And I think it's good for people to know everything that's around them and get comfortable with it and know, okay, well.
Didn't we just get a new one?
Digital electrosmog.
Didn't we get? We got a digital. We got a new one of these ones.
We have 2 of these. We have 2 electrosmogs, and we have we ordered a new digital electrosmog that hasn't come in yet because our old one was kind of busted. The readings were like all over the place all the time. Something had happened with it, so we ordered a new one, but I don't think it came in yet. So that is the electrosmog meter. And now moving on, we have This Week in Paranormal History. We are going to be talking about on July 10th, 1863 was the siege of Battery Wagner that began. And Rob, you can tell us about the history, and I'll talk about the paranormal claims.
Okay, so and just like I was telling you before, sometimes people might know the Siege of Battery Wagner because if you ever seen the movie Glory with Matthew Broderick and Denzel Washington, that was the battle at the end of the movie to it. So on July 10th, 1863, the Union troops landed on Morris Island near Charleston, South Carolina, and they prepared for a siege on Battery Wagner, which was a massive sand fortress located on the island. In the summer of 1863, Union General Quincy Gilmore waged an unsuccessful campaign to capture Charleston. Although the city was an important port for the Confederates early in the war, the attempt to capture Charleston was largely symbolic, since the Union blockade of the Confederate ports earlier on had already bottled up Charleston Harbor anyway. Gilmore planned to approach it from the south by capturing Morris Island. On July 10th, Gilmore's troops quickly secured most of the island. The only barrier left was Battery Wagner, an imposing fortress that guarded Charleston's harbor on the southern rim. The fort was 30 feet high and nearly 300 feet from north to south. They were over 600 feet from east to west, and inside were 1,600 Confederate soldiers, 10 heavy cannons, and a mortar for hitting ships off the coast. Gilmore attacked early on July 11th, but the attack was repulsed. A much larger assault was made on July 18th with heavy Union losses. After the July 18th battle, Gilmore settled in for a long siege. The Confederates finally evacuated the fort on September 7th, 1863.
Very cool. I wasn't sure if you were going to add another nugget. Rob usually likes to add extra nuggets.
Probably could. I mean, that was based. I mean, the Massachusetts, 54th Massachusetts, which is Robert Gould Shaw's command to it. They were the earliest. They were the first colored troops to it, and he volunteered after fighting earlier the day before all night long in a previous skirmish to lead the assault because he felt it would be good for morale, and he wanted to prove to people that the colored troops were just as good as the white troops to it. So they volunteered to lead the assault, and they took very heavy casualties. I believe there was something along the lines of 50%.
Wow.
Or something like that, because they made their way into the fort. They breached the ramparts. Shaw was killed trying to lead the troops up the ramparts to get through. He got shot numerous times. He went down. The colors fell. They picked it up, and they continued charging forward into it. But once they got into it, they just got overwhelmed by cannons and everything else, and they were forced back. And the way that it was designed that they had to march, it was a full frontal assault, which is never really your ideal way to assault the location to it. And it was a narrow strip of land, so basically they could only send one regiment at a time for it, and they'd have to march behind each other, which meant it was very slow for reinforcements to move up to get to Battery Wagner to it. So the 54th got decimated and had to pull back. They sent in more, but still it took too long for them to cross the thresholds, and they all suffered heavy casualties to the point where they pulled back because it wasn't going to work.
Wow, that's crazy. Moving on, some paranormal claims. While the fort no longer exists, that doesn't mean that the restless spirits have left the area. There are beach houses just off where the fort once stood. Many claim to have found unmarked graves on their property. There are many claims ranging from cold spots to odd smells in the house. Some claim to hear gunshots fired outside. Some have claimed that the feelings of being watched at night. One person's house was used as a field hospital during the Civil War, and where many men were brought during the siege. The homeowner has claimed to see Confederate soldiers walking through the house. There was even a claim that it felt as if a small child or animal was jumping on one of the beds. They also have said in their house they had smells of burnt flesh, and even claimed seeing a shadow person in their kitchen. So that's just some of the paranormal claims that exist in that area. That is it for this week in paranormal history. As I make the banging paper sound.
For emphasis.
Really big shoe.
That's it.
Really big shoe.
Alright, moving on. We have this and just a couple other little things, and then we'll be wrapping up. But right now we have our fan questions that we'd like to answer. And the first one comes from Nicole R., and she asks, do you believe that a ghost box actually works?
Oh.
And, who wants to take that first?
I got an interesting theory on this. I don't know if you guys have heard this theory. The reason why we get so much, why the thing is, what is this called? Electronic communication?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with the radios and stuff.
The reason why we're getting so much electronic communication, I believe, has to deal with, these entities or spirits or whatever. They're just operating on a different frequency, and the frequencies just happen to overlap with each other, and then you'll be catching bits and pieces of, them trying to communicate with us. If they're more intelligent, maybe they can interact they can, change their frequency or what have you. But I think that's why we get EVPs too. We just happen to be in the right place at the right time. They have enough energy drawn in to, overlap the frequency in which we can hear it. Because I remember an old member that used to be in our group, his first EVP he ever caught, he was a very big into music and everything like that. So he analyzed the crap out of it, and he found out that it was you were hearing it on a different frequency than humans can hear.
Mm-hmm.
It basically on the same frequency like a dog can hear, kind of thing. So I forgot what we were talking about, but that's my story.
Ghost box, do you think it
Ghost
works?
box, yes. So it works in a way, but also it could just be a whole lot of, especially if it's going through talk radio, you're going to hear a lot of things.
Yeah, that's the thing. Making sure that you know what you're setting it at, what your ratings are, and the consistency. Now, if you're getting the same voice going through multiple channels, say through, a spirit box, ghost box, whatever you want to call it, and you're going through the channels and you're having the same voice go through multiple channels, that's interesting.
Right.
Now, if you're just getting bits and pieces of words as it's cycling through, chances are it's nothing, and you need to throw it out.
Audible matrixing.
Yeah, you got to be careful with matrixing. That's a big thing in this field, is being able to discern what the difference is between what you're looking at is real and what you're looking at your brain is trying to make sense out of. So whether it's sound, sight, any of that stuff, your brain needs to understand what it's looking at, so it will make something out of nothing, you know? So just be very cautious at what you're looking at. Be very certain of yourself. Don't throw something out there that you just see some static in the background for a picture, let's say, and you want to see a face in a thing of moisture. That's your brain looking at that moisture, saying, there's a bunch of dots in here, what does that look like to me? And that's what matrixing basically is. So same thing applies with audible matrixing. You want to be careful and make sure you're catching something that's not being said just off a radio station. It's just going quick enough that you're hearing it. Although I will say, we have our spirit box, and on more than, I think it was just one occasion, maybe twice, or it could be confusing with the echo box, but on the spirit box we did hear my name. And that's interesting. My name isn't an easy name. You don't hear it very often, especially on the radio. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, I do believe it works. Rob, you have anything you want to add to that?
I don't have a whole lot of faith in it, personally. I feel people hear what they want to hear for the most part. I can't say it can't work. I mean, theoretically, anything could possibly work. I've never really seen it work to the point where I believed in it. That's just me being, I guess, skeptical to it. Because it's going back and forth between radio bands and people putting words together, and they're trying to take a story out of random words that they hear to it. So perhaps something communicates with it. But I mean, otherwise, how does the spirit figure out what band to use and how to talk? I just feel a lot more of it's probably nothing versus the small amount that's probably true.
I think it's a safe bet. Yeah. So thank you, Nicole, for that question. And our next question comes from Rhonda. She asks, is it possible for me to become possessed if my upstairs neighbors are into the occult? This is funny because I literally just answered this question.
So Rhonda A, just rewind this video.
10 minutes, right? Yeah, I mean, just to reiterate, yes, it is possible. We've had that happen in the past to somebody that I know. So, yeah, absolutely. People that are doing these things and not closing doors properly or not knowing what they're doing, you got to be careful. So, it's possible. And that's it. That's all I can really add to that. I don't know. Anybody else want to add?
I would say, you can maybe be influenced. I think for full-on possession, you still have to okay the fact that you're allowing it to use you and be part of it to it. That doesn't mean it can't screw with you in other ways.
Right.
Well, it
starts with a breakdown
what level
mentally.
it is you're looking to. You're looking to say, when you say possessed, are you looking like for full-out possession, or are you looking to be like harassed or bothered?
Yeah. Yeah, in this case, this kid is harassed or bothered. But sometimes, if you don't have, some parents that don't believe it and stuff like that, and tell the kids that they're having imaginary friends and things, you just gotta be aware. I mean, I have 2 children myself, and when my son tells me he sees something, I ask him where. Do I divulge what it is I do with the paranormal and stuff to them? No, I don't. I don't talk about it around them. I don't bring it up around them. They just know this group as my lippy friends.
What do they think that we do?
I don't know. I think they have a small idea of what we do, but I don't discuss it with them. When I talk to my wife about things that we've experienced, it's when they're in bed and sleeping. And then I talk to her about it, just like we talk about any other decision that we make that we don't want the children to hear. So, yeah, I mean, it's possible, but that stuff takes a long time. It's not just going to come out of nowhere and say, oh, I'm possessing you now. It's a breakdown mentally of the person that's involved and becoming accepting of whatever's going on to them. So, yeah, but just be careful, like I said. And you want the full answer, just rewind like 10 minutes back and go through all that. And now, second to last, Andy is going to be giving us just an update on our YouTube page, what's been going on in the world of YouTube and all this other fun stuff.
All right, so
And what he has planned for the future.
Ooh, that's right. Well, we'll give you a little future forecast of what's coming on at you on the YouTubes. We got another Lippy Light coming up that was shot during the carnival. The carnival.
Oh, you have? Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
That was a while ago.
Oh yes. Oh, I've been saving it.
Did you already edit it? It's all done and ready to go?
Oh, it is not edited yet. I've watched through it though, and it is quite awesome. You will see me being an idiot.
Did you go on any rides during the carnival? I don't remember you on them.
No, I just ate 2 funnel cakes.
You were covered in powdered sugar.
Oh yes, I was.
I remember
It is
spinning in
documented
circles.
thoroughly.
His beard was quite white that night. Very Santa, I would say.
Oh,
The
okay.
thing I remember most about the carnival was the look on Brandon's face when we were on that ride. It looked like he was going to puke.
Oh man, I had him
Oh.
so sick. I
He just
had,
stopped
I was
talking.
going.
He was sitting silently in the chair, just like, staring ahead.
Oh wait, that one that was spinning around, you guys have to turn the thing.
I was going
He looked
so
like he
fast.
was
Do you remember
gonna
how
die.
fast I was going?
Yes, I have it on video.
Mike wouldn't let anyone turn.
Mike wouldn't let anybody turn it. You were either with me or you were with Mike. You were either gonna throw up with me or stay perfectly still with Mike. It was
Well, we
one or
learned that
the other.
Brandon should never be a fighter.
Oh yeah, Brandon was just like at one point he closed his eyes and just looked up. I'm like, that's the worst thing you can do, man. Don't
If
close
you're
your
gonna
eyes.
puke, turn your head.
Right.
I love those things. I'll do it. My arms and my chest were so sore the next day because I just kept going like a maniac.
Oh, that's gonna be
And then I was-
slow motion too.
And then I was yelling. At everybody. I was like, "Rob, faster! Brandon, get your hands on this thing!"
You were just sitting here like rocking in this chair. Let it be over. Let it be over.
Oh man.
Oh, that's definitely gonna be a big part. Now I have to analyze that thoroughly. Me eating 2 funnel cakes, one very centrally.
Remember that?
Jeez, a vuvuzela. So someone I forgot got a vuvuzela somehow.
Oh, that annoyingly dumb thing.
Yes. Yeah, that thing. And shooting out the star. We got a few of us shooting out the star with the pellet guns. That was pretty cool. All right, so that's the one Lippy Light coming to you. Another Lippy Light's going to be some more crew interviews that are going to be coming your way. I think I got. Well, Teresa just aired. I think I got one more coming at you there. And also we got finally, do you have like the heavens opening or like oh hallelujah sound?
I don't think so. That's a good question. I do have this though. It's just a boing.
Yeah, that's about the same thing.
That's good, right?
Oh well, big reveal. Finally gonna get some equipment reviews going instead of just the one. Oh yeah, that's
Very
what she
excited.
said. that's how we get the ladies with our equipment review because they're gonna review our equipment. But yeah, we got
And
the
then
win.
Andy
Too
breaks
much,
up the
Andy. Too
chloroform.
much. You took it too far.
Oh, I'm sorry. As I see our subscribers falling, trickling. But yeah, so we got that going on, and hopefully some more documentaries coming. We just got to shoot some. That would be nice.
There is a lot of stuff in the works me and Mike have started planning out, so they will be happening over the next few weeks on some Saturday day trips. We are going to begin filming some more documentary stuff.
That would be really nice. I mean, we have the tools.
We have the talent.
Yes! There we go. That's my little YouTube update. Please like, comment, and subscribe for some more paranormal infotainment.
That's it. And then last but not least, we like to wrap up these shows by playing an EVP for you and talking about it. This one was caught recently when we went to Lake George in the end of May. This is from May 29th, 2015. Myself and Hanson, what we did when we were investigating the Lake George battlefield, we had everybody split up and be solo. And we wanted to keep that experience so that, they say that if you're going to have an experience, chances are usually happens when you're alone and when you're with other people. So we figured, let's mess with that a little bit. Let's have everybody go separate. They're not far from each other, so if you need to get around people, you can. And then at this point, this was towards the end of the night, we were in front of the Indian drinking water fountain, and Hanson came up to me and was talking to me about something, and then you hear a voice. So I will pause my mic and then play that for you.
Right here. It kind of look a face. Your flashlight good?
No.
Yeah, so that's what it is. I'll go over it again and I'll play it for you, but what I believe it's saying is it's calling Hanson an asshole. It's saying asshole. Like, it's kind of drawn out. It's a whisper, obviously. And there's nobody around us. It's me and Hanson talking, and now that I've reheard it, I remember what it was. He had claimed that he had just saw a face look at him when he was in the area right there where the drinking fountain was.
Huh.
Right here. It kind of look a face. Your flashlight good?
No.
And then you hear me talk right after that. So we were literally the only two people around, and that's what I caught, and it was interesting. It really was. It didn't like him for whatever reason. Maybe it was me. Maybe it didn't like me, but I assume it was him.
Didn't you?
He gets a lot of attention.
Huh?
He gets a lot of attention. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, didn't he just get another EVP? Someone calling his name out? Like,
When we were at Sheep Pasture Park during the overnight.
Yes.
Yeah, there was actually no, not the overnight. The Thursday before the overnight, the night before, because we went there twice in a row because I wanted people to see that location so that if they didn't go on the overnight, they would want to maybe come next time.
Yeah.
And say that was cool. We had some cool things happen. And yeah, Mike and I think Hanson were in a group, and
no, I was
Mike
with Mike.
was it? Huh?
I was with Mike. We heard
You
the
were with
scream.
Mike? Oh yeah, you heard the scream. So whoever was in Hanson's group then, but they had an EV. No, it was Mike that picked it up.
Yeah, Mike did.
You and Mike were together.
And it said something about Hanson.
And it said Hanson's name, but Hanson was on the other end of the field, so he was somewhere in a completely different location. But yeah, so that was really interesting too.
What's he been doing on his
maybe
free
we'll
time?
be playing that, messing with the occult,
Huh.
Or maybe his neighbors were. You never know.
He's seducing Zool.
He is the minion of Gozer. All right, well that's all we have for our show today. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening, and please feel free to check out all our other videos that we have here on our YouTube page. As usual, if you don't know where to find us, you can find us on Facebook. You can look us up at Long Island Paranormal Investigators. You can find us on Twitter. Our handle is at LI Paranormal. You can go to our website, www.liparanormalinvestigators.com, and on our left-hand side there's a little bar. It says Lippy Store. You can click on that. It goes to our Facebook page. We have a store through Facebook, and you can check that out. And we are also on the Google+, so you can find us on Google+. It's Long Island Paranormal Investigators. So that is all we have for today. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will talk to you guys soon. Thank you very much. Take care.
Night.
Later.
Bye.